The worst betrayals often come wrapped in good intentions. At least that's what my parents claimed when they emptied my college fund to send my cousin Jessica to Yale. "We're doing this for the family," they said. "Jessica has such potential." The unspoken part, of course, was that I apparently didn't. I'm Olivia Chin, 22, and this is the story of how my parents' good intentions backfired in the most spectacular way possible. But let me start at the beginning. Growing up in a Chinese-American family, education was everything. Every achievement, every test score, every academic recognition was carefully measured and compared. My cousin Jessica and I were born just 2 months apart, and from day one, we were unwitting competitors in an academic Olympics neither of us had signed up for. Jessica was the gifted one. Perfect grades, debate team captain, published research paper at 16. I was different. Good grades, but not exceptional. Captain of the robotics team, but that didn't count as much as debate in my parents' eyes. I spent my weekends in my grandmother's garage, taking apart old computers and building them into something new. Wasting time, my mother called it. Playing with toys, my father said. Only my grandmother, my nai, seemed to understand. She'd sit in her garage with me, watching as I worked, asking questions about what each part did. "Different minds work in different ways," she'd say in Mandarin, her eyes twinkling. "Some follow the path. Others make their own." The college fund had been building since I was born. Every red envelope at Chinese New Year, every birthday check, every summer job paycheck, all carefully deposited and saved. By my senior year of high school, it had grown to nearly $80,000. Not enough for 4 years at an elite private university, but enough for a good state school where I'd been accepted into the computer engineering program. Then came the call that changed everything. "Olivia, we need to talk," my mother said one evening, her voice carrying that particular tone that always meant trouble. My father sat beside her at our dining room table, his face uncharacteristically serious. "Jessica got into Yale," Mom continued. "Early decision. Full academic scholarship." I nodded, unsurprised. Of course Jessica got into Yale. The sun rises in the east, water is wet, and Jessica gets into Yale. These were simply facts of life. "But there's a problem," Dad added. "The scholarship doesn't cover everything. Room and board, books, living expenses, it adds up to more than Uncle Wei and Aunt Lynn can afford." A cold feeling settled in my stomach as I began to understand where this was going. "We've been talking," Mom said, reaching for Dad's hand. "Jessica has such an amazing opportunity. This could change her whole future. Change all our family's future. Having a Yale graduate in the family." "You're taking my college fund," I said flatly. It wasn't a question. "We're reallocating family resources," Dad corrected, using his business voice. "Your state school is much more affordable. You can take out loans, work part-time. Jessica needs this money now. And I don't." My voice cracked slightly. "What about my future?" "Oh, honey," Mom's tone was patronizing. "Be realistic. Jessica has real potential. She could be a lawyer, a politician, someone important. You're good with computers, yes, but that's more of a technical career." The words hit like physical blows. Technical career, good with computers, not someone important. "Have you talked to Nai about this?" I asked, knowing my grandmother would never approve. My parents exchanged glances. "Your grandmother is traditional," Mom said carefully. "She wouldn't understand modern opportunities. It's better not to worry her." That night, I lay in bed staring at my ceiling, text messages from Jessica lighting up my phone. "OMG Olivia, I just heard. Thank you so much. I promise I'll make the family proud." I didn't respond. What could I say? "Congratulations on being worth more than me. Thanks for fulfilling the potential I apparently lack." The next morning, I went to see Nai. Her house was my sanctuary, the garage my workshop. She took one look at my face and knew something was wrong. "Tell me," she said simply, setting out a cup of oolong tea. So I did. About Yale, about Jessica, about my vanished college fund, about being technical instead of important. Nai listened silently, her face unreadable. When I finished, she stood up and walked to an old filing cabinet in the corner of her garage. From the bottom drawer, she pulled out a thick envelope. "Your parents," she said in Mandarin, "see only what they expect to see. They look at Jessica and see a path they understand. They look at you and see a mystery they cannot solve. She handed me the envelope. Open this after I'm gone, not before. Nay, nay, what are you talking about? You're not going anywhere. She smiled, patting my cheek. Everyone goes somewhere eventually, little one. The trick is preparing for the journey. I didn't know then that she'd been keeping secrets of her own. Big ones. The next few months passed in a blur of college preparations. Jessica's, not mine. Every family gathering became a celebration of her achievement. Yale, my relatives would whisper reverently. Full scholarship. They conveniently forgot to mention the part about my college fund. I withdrew from the State University engineering program. Without the saved money, even that was out of reach. Instead, I enrolled in community college, taking night classes while working at a local computer repair shop during the day. My parents acted like this was the natural order of things. See, this is more appropriate for your level, Mom said when I showed her my class schedule. The word appropriate had never sounded more like an insult. Jessica left for Yale in August. The family threw a huge going-away party, complete with a professional photographer and catering. I spent most of it in Nene's garage, methodically taking apart an old server she'd let me salvage. You should be inside celebrating, my father said, finding me there. This is a family achievement. I looked up from my work circuit board in hand. No, Dad, this is Jessica's achievement, and your choice. He started to respond, but just then we heard screaming from the house. Not celebration screaming, real, panicked screaming. We ran inside to find Nene collapsed in her favorite armchair. The paramedics said it was a massive stroke. She never regained consciousness. The funeral was a traditional Chinese ceremony, mountains of white flowers and burning incense. Jessica flew back from Yale to attend, making sure everyone knew how much her plane ticket cost and how many classes she was missing. I stood silently through the service, remembering Nene's words about preparing for journeys. In my pocket, her envelope felt heavy with unspoken secrets. 2 days after the funeral, the family gathered at Mr. Wang's law office. He'd been Nene's lawyer for decades, handling everything from her immigration paperwork to her tax returns. Before we begin, Mr. Wang said, setting up a laptop, Mrs. Chen left specific instructions about how this meeting should proceed. My parents nodded impatiently. They'd been speculating about Nene's estate for days, assuming most of it would go to charity since she'd never seemed to have much money. First, Mr. Wang continued, we'll watch a video Mrs. Chen recorded 6 months ago. The screen flickered to life, and there was Nene sitting in her garage among her treasured junk. She looked directly into the camera and began to speak. My dear family, she said in perfect English, shocking everyone who'd only ever heard her speak Mandarin. I have some things to tell you about who I really am, and why I've spent the last 40 years pretending to be a simple grandmother who doesn't understand modern ways. Part 2. The room fell silent as Nai continued speaking in flawless English, her familiar face taking on an authority none of us had ever seen before. For those who only knew me as a simple immigrant grandmother, this may come as a shock. Before coming to America, I was Dr. Chen Lai Wei, lead engineer and eventual chief technology officer at Taiwan Semiconductor. I helped develop the microprocessor architecture that would later revolutionize the computer industry. Gasps filled the lawyer's office. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Uncle Wei dropped his phone. I came to America in 1980, not as a refugee seeking a better life as you were told, but as part of a classified technology transfer program. My work formed the foundation for several major Silicon Valley startups. The patents I held generated considerable wealth, which I chose to keep private for various reasons. My father's face had gone pale. All those years of dismissing me as technical, and his mother-in-law had been a pioneer in computer engineering. I maintained my simple grandmother persona because I wanted to see how my family would develop naturally, without the influence of wealth or status. I watched my children raise their own children, making choices that revealed their true characters. The video image of Nai leaned forward slightly, her eyes intense. I watched you push Olivia aside in favor of Jessica, not because one was more talented than the other, but because one fit your narrow definition of success. You saw Jessica's academic achievements and were impressed. But I saw Olivia's mind at work in my garage, solving problems even I would have found challenging. My mother made a small choking sound. Jessica, who had been texting under the table, slowly put her phone away. The computers Olivia rebuilt weren't just old machines. They were tests I created, engineering challenges disguised as broken electronics. Without any formal training, working purely from intuition and self-taught knowledge, she solved optimization problems that would challenge senior engineers. Tears blurred my vision as I remembered those long afternoons in the garage, Nai watching quietly as I worked. She hadn't just been keeping me company, she'd been evaluating me. And so, Nai continued, I made my decision. My estate, including my patents, investments, and total holdings of approximately $47 million, will be distributed as follows. The room erupted in chaos. $47 million? My uncle actually fainted, sliding out of his chair while Aunt Lynn frantically fanned him with a legal document. To my granddaughter Jessica, Nai's voice cut through the noise. I leave $1 million in a restricted educational trust. This should cover any additional expenses at Yale and graduate school, provided she maintains a 3.5 GPA. The money can only be used for legitimate educational expenses verified by the trustee. Jessica's face crumpled. $1 million was a fortune, but we could all tell there was more coming, and she wasn't going to get it. To my daughter and son-in-law, she continued, looking straight at my parents, I leave the sum of $500,000 with this stipulation. It can only be accessed after Olivia has completed her education as compensation for the college fund you took from her. Mom started to protest, but Dad gripped her arm, shaking his head. They both looked shell-shocked. The remainder of my estate, including all patents, technology holdings, and investment portfolios, I leave to my granddaughter Olivia Chen. Not because she is more worthy than Jessica, but because she has demonstrated the same passion for innovation that drove my own career. More importantly, she has shown integrity and resilience in the face of family betrayal. I couldn't breathe. $45 million? Patents? Technology holdings? Additionally, Nai added with a slight smile, I've arranged for Olivia to have an internship at my old company in Taiwan, should she choose to accept it. They've been keeping a position open for the right candidate. The video image of Nai sat back, her face softening. A final word to my family. Wealth does not create wisdom. Jessica, your academic achievements are admirable, but true success comes from more than test scores. Olivia, your path has been harder, but it has made you stronger. To my children, remember that parents should nurture their children's natural gifts, not force them into predetermined molds. She looked directly into the camera one last time. The garage workshop is yours now, Olivia. The old filing cabinet has a false bottom. You'll find all my research notes there. I think you'll know what to do with them. The screen went black, leaving us in stunned silence. Mr. Wong cleared his throat. There are some additional documents to sign, but the video will is legally binding. Mrs. Chen had it properly witnessed and notarized. She was very thorough. The next few hours were a blur of paperwork and family drama. Jessica alternated between crying and trying to convince me to share the inheritance. My parents sat in shocked silence, occasionally muttering about all those years and never knew. Uncle Wei recovered from his faint long enough to suggest that as the eldest male relative, he should manage the inheritance for me. Aunt Lynn quickly backed him up, talking about family responsibility and proper hierarchy. I let Mr. Wong handle the protests. As Nai's chosen executor, he had clear instructions about attempts to contest or manipulate the will. That evening, I went to the garage, my garage now. The false bottom in the filing cabinet opened easily, revealing decades of notebooks filled with Nai's elegant handwriting. Circuit designs, optimization algorithms, innovation after innovation she kept hidden all these years. Mixed in with the technical papers was a personal letter addressed to me. My dearest Olivia, by now you know who I really am. I'm sorry for the deception, but I needed to see you work without the pressure of my reputation. Your mind works like mine, seeing patterns others miss, finding solutions in unexpected places. The night your parents took your college fund, I almost revealed everything. But I knew that money alone wouldn't solve the real problem. You needed time to find your strength, to prove to yourself what I already knew, that success doesn't always follow the expected path. The patents and technology in these notebooks are valuable, but the real treasure is your own potential. Don't let anyone define that potential for you, not your parents, not society, not even me. All my love, Nay, nay. P.S. Check the old server in the corner. I think you'll find it's not quite as broken as it appears. 6 months have passed since that day in the lawyer's office. I'm now studying computer engineering at Stanford, after their admissions office received a very interesting letter of recommendation from the former CTO of Taiwan Semiconductor. The patents Nai left me have already generated enough licensing revenue to fund a scholarship program for unconventional thinkers in STEM fields. Jessica is still at Yale, doing well enough to maintain her educational trust, but perhaps a bit more humble than before. My parents are slowly coming to terms with everything, both their mistakes and their assumptions about success. Dad actually asked to see my latest robotics project last week, and Mom hasn't mentioned law school in months. The broken server in Nai's garage turned out to contain a revolutionary quantum computing architecture she'd been quietly developing. The tech industry went crazy when I published her research, with multiple companies now competing to develop it. I'm overseeing the project teams, ensuring my grandmother's final innovation is properly realized. But my favorite moments are still in the garage, surrounded by circuit boards and possibilities, just like when Nai was alive. Sometimes, when I'm deep in problem-solving mode, I swear I can hear her voice. Different minds work in different ways. Some follow the path. Others make their own. Last week, a young girl from the neighborhood spotted me working and asked if she could watch. She reminded me of myself at that age, curious, unconventional, full of questions that didn't quite fit the standard mold. I smiled and waved her in just as Nai had done for me. "Do you want to learn how computers think?" I asked. Her eyes lit up as she nodded eagerly. "Well," I said, pulling out an old circuit board, "let me tell you a story about my grandmother."